Now, na? Oh, okay, okay. Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. I welcome to all of you after our inaugural session. This is a technical session of this seminar. We have good number of paper presentators, and in this session, Professor Dharmachand Jain is going to preside, as well as he is also going to present on paper. The title of his paper is Importance of Jain Way of Life from the Health Point of View, and our second presenter is Dr. Namrata Kothari, a Jain way of life rooted in the training of nonviolence. Next presenter is Dr. Sangeeta Saha, Niskep and Anugama, the prerequisites of philosophy of language in Anuyoga Dharasutra. And the next presenter is Dr. Pra Chalermach, Ahimsa in Jainism and Buddhism, a way of self-purification. Let us invite all the presentators to the dais. They should have their seat here, please. Please, ma'am, you take your seat here. Namrata Kothari, Dr. Namrata Kothari, and Dr. Sangeeta Saha. Ma'am, please. Yes. And Dr. Prachaler Mach. Yes, please come. Have your seat here. The sir is Thank you all for joining us for this wonderful event. Let us uh, offer them Sal and to all the speakers. I request to James Anand Jain sir, Professor Dharmachand Jain sir, please. Dr. Namrata Kothari, Dr. Sangeeta Saha, Dr. Fra Chalermach, now I would like to request Dr. Namrata Kothari to present her paper.
Good morning to all of you. First of all, I am thankful to the organizer to invite me over here and my friend Anand for giving me this opportunity to present my views on Jain way of life. I am grateful to them. With the permission of chair, I would like to present my paper. The title of my paper, The Jain Way of Life, Rooted in the Training of Nonviolent Way of Life. As we know, the world which we are living today is a dualistic one and discriminatory, a world of division of identity. The unity remains hidden and the differences came into forefront. Many kinds of differences between man and man, that is the differences of concept, of belief, ideological differences, differences in interests, temperamental differences, and differences in emotional makeup. The root cause of communal frenzy is not doctrinal differentiation, but emotional bigotry. In this context, Jain way of life, which is rooted in non-violent way of life, is very pertinent. First of all, we should know what is this way of life. I know all of us know that, but still, I want to mention in 2 4 lines. It means a particular group of people or a society. It encompasses various aspects of daily livings, including food, clothing, language, family structure, social structure, activities, cultural practices, etc. The way of life is influenced by several factors like geographical factors, that cultural heritage, then economic factors, political and social organization, globalization and technology in the world today. So this Jain way of life is a philosophical and ethical system that originated in ancient India. And as we know, Jainism being an oldest religion, it emphasizes on non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-possession as its principle. And those who follow these principles, they are known as Jains. I'm not going to deal in details about these principles because in the first session, Professor Jitendra Shahaji already spoke at length about these things. What is ahimsa? What is anikanta? What is aparigraha? So my focus is on mainly on the things which we are facing day to day and how through these day to day activities we can channelize ahimsa in our life or we can imbibe ahimsa in our life so that we can live peaceful, prosperous and happy life. The five very important fundamental principles of nonviolence is freedom, interdependence, harmony, equality, and coexistence. For imbibing these principles, training is necessary or mandatory. And what is this training? We called it anuvrata. That is the code of discipline. So, training in anuvrata means training in nonviolence, and training in nonviolence means training in anuvrata. So, anuvrata, this concept first emerged in the form of movement for moral and character development. It is a code of conduct which influenced every section of our society. Its sphere of action influenced is used for cleansing the business environment, uprooting the corruption, and reformation of electoral malpractices. Its philosophy or lifestyle largely remained neglected and unappreciated. Now, the need of it is felt for a change in a direction. The philosophy of Anuvrata is the philosophy of democracy. It's a lifestyle in a democratic way of life. It must be no longer confined to mere purification of conduct. So the total nonviolence is unimaginable for a man living in the society or what we call for lay women or lay men. That's why we should clearly rely on violence for living is not, we can say, however desirable. But we must limit the individual ownership or individual possession. We must also determine for ourselves the limits of consumption. In Anuvrata lifestyle, such delimitation of desire plays a very important role, and it helps to resolve the network of infatuation with material object. So the individual, society, and the country and the world are faced with innumerable problems like mental tension, terrorism, drug addiction, intolerance, etc., etc. And understanding of Anubrata and its practice offers a lasting solution to all these problems. And training in democracy will not merely theoretical. Training will be combined with practice and right conduct. So it seems to be little endeavor, nevertheless, very important. The public should come to realize its significance. So the non-violence which we are thinking of, which we are speaking of all the time, what does it mean? It means one must not kill a living being. It also means that one should not create atmosphere of violence. The doctrine of violence or non-violence, we can say, it lays down nothing coexists by itself alone. So the whole world is affected by signs of environment. The few basic principles: number one, the soul and the matter influence each other. Second maxim, our material environment is conditioned by living beings, and living beings are conditioned by environment. Third maxim, within quotes, a change in one sphere bring change in other sphere also. Fourth maxim is that the animate beings can survive in a particular environment. If that environment is changed, the living creatures die. We have seen this example during the corona period, or we can say the COVID period. From the 2021, we have already faced this thing. And the fifth principle relates with the science of environment. Let not the equilibrium of the nature be disturbed. Let no element reach the state of equilibrium. So a study of the science of environment is in fact the study of science of non-violence. Example, like we are using the paper in our day-to-day life. Have we ever think of that, how this paper comes? By cutting the trees. So, and in large numbers, we are wasting the papers. So actually, we are harming the environment. And if we want to preserve, promote the environment, then definitely this should be stopped. This is a form of non-violence also. So the self-restraint alone is life. And the question of non-violence is linked up with the very human existence. Nowadays, we are speaking about value-based education. What is the main funda or the basic thing of value education? The starting point is the training of non-violence is fearlessness. So another important factor of non-violence is also adjustment. If we see in our practical life, we will see by imbibing certain things, we can train ourselves to live a non-violent life. How? Suppose the factor, the factor of violence is greed, which is the spirit of possession. How we can control that? By less consumption. Fear, another factor of violence, which means the development of use of armaments. How we can control that? By disarmament. Enmity, the spirit of revenge. How we can overcome that? By friendliness, by forgiving others. Anger, the strife-ridden community. How we can do that? By increasing tolerance. Likewise, ego, cruelty, intolerance, absolute thinking, absolute conduct, all these emotions, this sensation can be controlled through positive feeling of compassion, friendliness, through tolerance. So this is how we can change our life. And if we bring these changes in our life, then definitely we can change the life of others, which ultimately leads to change in the society as a whole. And in this way, we can keep our environment full of peace, bliss, and happiness. Thank you so much.
Now, would like to invite some questions. Okay. Our second speaker, Dr. Sangeeta Saha ma'am. Please come first.
आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. Since the paper is to be presented in English, I may try to translate or may not translate certain terminology because we don't have English equivalents for those terms. But yes, I will try to put in the explanation into that. My subject is about how Nikshep and Anugam, the two concepts that are prerequisites of what we know as Nayavad and Syadvad. So it has been less studied about. Most of us have been we are aware of what Syadvad is and what Naivad is. But very few are aware that before the exposition through Naivad and Syadvad, one has to go through two concepts called Nikshep and Anugam. I will be speaking in reference to Anuyog Dwara Sutra, which is the latest of the agams in terms of the time frame. Like most agams are considered to be immediately after Mahavir Swami's Nirvan, but Anuyog Dwara Sutra is considered to be to have been formed in the first century Common Era. So that's pretty late among all the agams. Now, what does Anuyog Dwar Sutra state? Everybody knows what Anuyog is, mostly those who study Jainism. It's been classified as Pratmanu Yoga. Then, sorry, I just Pratmanu Yoga, Charananu Yoga, Ganitanu Yoga, and one more, which I'll come across. So, everybody knows what Anuyog is in these terms. Anuyog actually, if you take it etymologically, Anuyog means something that connects. Yog means connects, and Anuyog means later. That which connect later. What does it connect with later? Then the teachings that Mahavir Swami gave, the meanings he had given the lectures in say meanings, and they were then later on formed into sutras. So what we need to understand from these sutras, that is Anugam. And Anuyog Sutras particularly expresses that. So they have, Anuyog Dwar Sutra has given four doors of, or we can say portals, to get into the huge sea of canons or agamas. The huge sea of canons, how can you understand what is trying to be conveyed or what is being said? It really becomes difficult to understand, because even when in our regular language we misunderstand things a lot, because somebody is trying to say something and cannot articulate in the way that hearer understands. So that creates confusion, that creates misunderstandings. And when we talk about philosophical concepts are very much, they have this propensity to create misunderstandings, because they are highly technical, and understanding the words of a philosophy is really difficult. when Wittgenstein said that language is what we use, I mean, that the meaning is that. So Jaina says, yes, how we use a language is the most important thing, because language is the only medium where we convey our understanding of the world, the reality. And this language has to be understood the way the speaker wants to tell you. So now what happens is, like, people have different kinds of languages. So a word that means something in another language would mean something different in another language. Like, very simply put, if you come to Uttar Pradesh and you say tum aise ho, then that is considered as very insulting. Aapne tum kaise bol diya? But when you go to Gujarat, for people, tum is like aap. So when Gujaratis don't know that aap is the equivalent in Uttar Pradesh for tum, they will say tum. But the hearer who is from should think, अरे इसने तो मेरा इंसल्ट ही कर दिया, मेरे को तुम बोल रहे हैं. So understanding of language is very important, from which context it comes. And for that, Jainas are very, 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 they are very alert about that. What they want to communicate and how it should be understood. For that, they have talked about nikshe. The language is made up of words. And if words are not understood correctly, then there are chances that people will misunderstand. So what they said, let's sort of import meanings to words. What is importing meanings to words? Like, if I am saying that I am Sundari, my name is Sundari. Oh, by any chances, am I a Sundari? What does Sundari mean? Someone who is a beautiful female. Now, the parameters of beauty would be different with each person. My name would be Sundari, but I may not be Sundar. So then, if somebody is talking about a Sundari, one has to explain what Sundari or who Sundari they are talking about. If you say in English, there are this concept of 5 W's and 1 H. What, when, where, why, and then how. All these concepts are integrated into Anuyog Dwar Sutra through Nikshep. And the pronunciation is also very important. And for that, they have Anugam. Anugam has one category. The Anuyog Dwar Sutra has so many categories and subcategories of how to interpret a word and how to interpret a sentence. Anugam falls under sentence interpretation. Then comes Naivad. Naivad is then the perception, how you are going to perceive that whole word and the sentence. That comes later on. Very few people know that we have to go through Nikshep and Anugam to avoid any kind of misunderstandings for what philosophical concepts any darshan would be, any philosophy would be putting forth. So it's not just related to Jainism, it's related to philosophy of language, how language is used, and why Anugam and Nikshep are the most important tools, so that the exact meaning of philosophy is conveyed. There are, I mean, I have written like 100 pages on this, so I cannot get into all that. I'm just giving you the crux of what my study says. And yes, basically, Nikshep is divided into 4 doors: Naam, Sthapna, Dravya, and Bhav. So what is meant by Naam? Like, we know everything through a name. Everybody is named. Like, I am Sangeeta, I am named Sangeeta. If I'm not named Sangeeta, then I might be named something else, because otherwise people wouldn't identify me. So there has to be a name, a noun that identifies a particular object. Now the object may be living, or it could be matter. For any humans to understand anything, we need a name to understand. So that is the first exposition. We in English, many have translated it to as positing. Positing is the right word for this. Positing meanings, or you can say attribution of meanings. That is what Nikshep is all about. And yes, then comes Sthapna. Sthapna is the form. Form could be in any way. Form could be like, my form is like this, somebody else's form is like that. So when you name an object, it has a form. That is the construction in your mind. Only then you can identify yourself with that object. So there is this name, object, and then there is dravya. Like very funny thing, I would say. Somebody told me that now we invite Dr. Sangeeta Shah. So it was like I still haven't received my doctorate, and why am I being called doctor? Somebody would wonder that. But if you go to Niksheep, when you go to Dravya, Dravya indicates the past and the future existence of the topic you are talking. So when somebody calls me doctor, yes, in the future I'm going to be a doctor. So then he is right when he's calling me a doctor. But if there is somebody else who already is a doctor, who has achieved that, say, doctorate, then that is the existential bhava nikshep. So maybe the ma'am has bhava nikshep, she already is a doctor, and I am the dravya nikshep because I still have to get my doctorate in the future. So these are concepts that we need to understand when we are talking about words and how we go about it. And this is very important when you are studying philosophy. So I think I have tried to make my point. There are lots of other things, but I think I will wind up over here. Thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, yes, now we are waiting for questions.
So Anugam is the follow-up of nikshep. Once you have understood what the nikshep are, how the word is to be, sort of dissected, then when you come to sentence, you need to connect those meanings in that sentence of that word. And that is Anugam. And that in Anuyogdva Sutra, it has been said that it is of two types. And one of them is Sutra Lapak, means, see, pronunciations are very important to understand the language. I'll give my example. There is another lady called Sangeeta, and I am Sangeeta. Now we both spell the same. There is a foreigner who comes, who reads my name and says, "Who is Sangeeta? Come here." And there's someone who's standing next to me, thinks he's calling her. And then I think, oh no, he says, no, no, not you, you come here. Pronunciations are very important, and particularly in Indian languages, where most of the languages are Sanskritized. And they have typical meaning, etymological meaning, and conventional meanings. So when you are speaking something, it has to have proper, when you talk about sutra alapak, means you have to have those pronunciation intact. You cannot change those pronunciations. Even in Vedic studies, we have this concept. There's a story, a demon called Vruttasar. Maybe some people might have heard about that story. Indra was becoming very powerful, and to defeat him, they were doing a havan. And in that havan, they had to pray that may Indra's enemies become powerful. That is what the exact word was in the Vedic Sanskrit. But this is spoken in a different manner. It meant may Indra become powerful against his enemies. The when you speak in a certain manner, that changes everything. And I don't know, most of you will be knowing Gujarati, but in Gujarati we have the saying. I'll translate it in Hindi. On a wall it was written, please do not urinate here. I'll speak in Gujarati first and then explain it. यहाँ पे पेशाब करना हाँ मना है. फिर कॉमा वामा कुछ नहीं है, करने वाले को सजा होगी. So somebody read this, यहाँ पेशाब करना, कॉमा, नहीं करने वाले को सजा होगी. So when meanings are not given in a proper way. This is, of course, not the example of pronunciation, but the example that the language has to be very specified when you are trying to convey meanings, particularly philosophical meanings. It has to be in a very intact manner. It has to be done the way it has been given. You cannot change in that. If you change, the meanings change and the effects change. So Anugam basically talks about this, that how you have to go about what you have already done in Nikshape. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Okay, come. Mike, you can give it, no? This mic.
Ma'am, I would like to ask you, you say that we should talk in a right way. But how we know what is the right way? Because maybe I am seeing different than the other person. Maybe the color or the form or the things which I am seeing, the other person is seeing different. How we know what is the right?
You can know what is right only by communicating. That's the only solution. You know what happens in our regular life also, what happens is we say something to our friends or family and they understand something else. So that is why they say that communication is the key to solving all the problems that are created because of communication or miscommunication. That is the only way you can solve it, because nobody here has clairvoyance, right? So I wouldn't know what you're trying to say, nor would you know what I'm understanding. So the only way to find that out is I talk to you in return. Oh, is it this what you mean? Or then you say, no, 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 I didn't mean this. I meant this. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. So this is the only way to communicate and find out whether what you are thinking or what you are trying to express is the same thing. Yeah, dialogue. Dialogue is the main thing. The communication has to be there through language.
Some just Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your thought-provoking and very elaborative paper. So now we would like to invite Dr. Pra Chalanmach to present his paper.
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ The first of all, I would like to thank my professor. Because him, today I have good chance to present one paper here. Thank you all of you to sacrifice your valuable time and come to sit here and come to study together. Genre of life for me is new for me because I'm from Thailand. But for all of you, it's not new for all of you. Please apologize to me if I say something is wrong, because this is the first time for me. I would like to present the first paper here. I stay here 5 years or 5th year this year, but this is the first time. My paper is Ahimsa in Buddhism or in Jainism and Buddhism, or a way of self purification. I have my own experience about this topic. The first time I came here, my friend asked me, my Indian friend asked me, you are Buddhist monk, why you are non-vegetarian? Why you not vegetarian? You eat chicken, you eat fish. Buddha vegetarian, he said like to me. But okay, I say okay. This experience decided me to choose this paper. Jainism and Buddhism, the two main religions of India, and have made significant contributions to create of social and ethical norms. Although the former is confined to Indian territory and the latter suppressed beyond the confine of India, land of its birth. And the noble doctrine have remarkably influenced our society and social institution. Among the surprise ethical doctrine which these two great religions advocate are ahimsa or non-violence and metta karuna, loving kindness, compassion. The former put forward by Jainism and later by Buddhism. This seminar paper discussed both these concepts presented by Jain and Buddhism. For introduction, one of the ethical principles of major religion of India is ahimsa. A Sanskrit term literally means non-violent, non-injury. Ahimsa also means non-violence. That is not only in action, but also in speech, thought. Cessation from doing injury to other by word, deed, or thought is ahimsa. Ahimsa is the opposite of himsa, which may be known as injury and defined as any act, including thoughts and speech, which harm the vitality of living beings. It not to harm one or other intentionally and or unintentionally. Crotes claim that one of the most significant contributions of Jain to India landscape is the principle of nonviolence itself. Apparently, there are the first people in the world to espouse such an ethic, and its practice is adapted by Buddhists and selectively appropriated by Jain and Buddhist dynastic alike. Although one appears to be negative in approach and other are positive, there are commonality in both of these doctrines. For Buddhism, emphasize the purity of the inner life. Let his mind pervade 1/4 of the world with thoughts of love. Buddha, in his saying, emphasized on happiness and security to all beings, which lists Buddhist ethic as that leads to ahimsa. The ethics of ahimsa is the keynote of Buddhism. Let one refrain even from hurting any creature, both those that are strong and those that tremble in the world. We should not offend anyone physically, verbally, and by thought. A human being is not the just person who carry matter by violence, but by the law of equality, non-injury in thought, word, and deed. Love, goodwill, passion, endurance, and self-purification constitute the Buddhist morality. What is the violence? For definition and cause, the Jain scholar Ummawati had defined the violence in Tawada Sutra in the following word: taking life away out of passion is violence. I think for this point, it is same like in Buddhism. Many times, Buddha say about should avoid healing or non-injuring to everyone. I think because the main point or action we do because passion. Passion include the power emotion of anger, pride, deceit, and greed. This the main point. I think all religion forgot this. But this way is not easy for all people follow. I think same this point, same like in Buddhism, like me. I'm Buddhist monk. And Jain also have ascetic practices. For monk in Jainism, very strict follow about ahimsa. But for householders, if some people can follow it the best or have the choice to follow, constitute of ahimsa. The first, carefulness. The second, mental state or intention. The third, the last, knowledge. Intention for the Buddhism. Did Buddha say, Chetana is Kamma? Chetana is Kamma. Same concept in the Buddhism. Ahimsa or nonviolence are the key teaching in Sutra. In Thailand, actually, before we start have function or activity, all Thailand, we recite one thing together. Panatipata Vera Mani Sikha Samadhiyami. What is mean? It means to undertake the training to avoid taking the life of being. But this for layman. But if for monk for me, like me, we cannot use training to avoid taking the life of being. For monk, should avoid taking the life of being. This different. Mean layman should training, but for monk like me, should avoid, only avoid. This the way ahimsa in Buddhism. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ra. Thank you so much. So now we can invite some questions. Okay. So we'd like to invite our uh, last speaker, as well as is also going to preside the sessions, Professor Dharmachand Jain sir. He is going to deliver his lecture on importance of join a way of life from the health point of view. It is very important topic. Sir, please.
बोधि समाधि परिणाम शुद्धि स्वात्मोपलब्धि शिव सौख्य सिद्धि चिंतामणिं चिंतित वस्तुदाने त्वां वन्द्यमानस्य ममास्तु देवी त्वां वन्द्यमानस्य ममास्तु देवी. I express my gratitude to Professor Mukul Raj Mehta and Anand Jain, who have invited me in this seminar and have given this opportunity to preside this session. Although I am not so able, but they have made me so able that I seated on this chair. There are 4 papers in this session, including me. 3 of them, one by Dr. Namrata Kothari. She presented on a Jain way of life rooted in the training of non-violence. She covered the topic and discussed non-violence in many ways. She presented it in the context of environment also. Environment may be protected through non-violence, through practice of non-violence. In Jainism, plants are also living beings, and environment is protected through plants and other beings also. There are micro beings, and we are also the part of that environment. All the living beings, including plants, should be protected. This is the way to protect environment through non-violence. So she focused on environment, and also she discussed anubrataj. Anubrataj are 5 in number, but she focused on first anubrata, which is connected with non-violence, pranatipat virmana. Pranatipat virmana is complete. If it is complete, then it is called mahavrata, which is observed through 3 karnas and 3 yogas, through mind, through speech, and through activity of body. So 3 yogas and 3 karnas. The person who observes pranatipat virman, a saint or a monk, he does not kill any being and does not tell any person to kill any being, and he does not support killing any being. So this is three karnas, and there are three karnas and three yogas in ascent. But Jaina lifestyle also connected with householders, and they can also observe this pranatipat virman through two karnas and three yogas. A householder who observes pranatipat virman vrat can leave killing anybody, any living being, and he also do not tell any person to kill any being. These two karnas and three yogas, he doesn't kill any being through mind, doesn't kill any being through speech, and doesn't kill any being through bodily activities, physical activities. So he also observes. So plants are also living beings, but we human beings cannot live our life without plants that are must for living. So there is no renunciation of killing plants for a householder, but he can limit, he can minimize the violence of plants also, and he can live without killing them without any purpose. Many human beings kill them without purpose and kill them more than their need, and that is to be avoided for protection of environment. So I thank Dr. Namrata Kothari for her good paper. The second one was presented by Sangeeta Shah, who came from Mumbai, and her topic was very interesting. It was concentrated on Anuyog Dwar Sutra. There are many such technical words in Anuyog Dwar Sutra like Nikshepa, Naya, Anugam, Upakram, etc. So she discussed two terms, Nikshep and Anugam in Anuyog Dwar Sutra. But in the morning session, when it was inaugural session, Professor Anand Mishra, who presided over that inaugural session, he told that the Jaina way of life is mainly connected with ethical sciences, with ethics. So this is living the Jaina way of life directly connected with the ethics or moral science. But when we think the principles of Jainism, like parigraha or anekantvad or syadvad or this nikshep or naya, these are also connected with our life, because every principle is life connected. So this was the actually matter, is actually subject of linguistics or linguistic science, but she accepted it to present in this seminar, which is focused on the Jaina way of life. But this topic is also connected with our life, with our understanding, right understanding. How can we understand? How can we achieve the right meaning of a word? The right meaning of a word is a science, and that is called Nikshepa in Jainism. And after which word should be taken rightly, that also a part of Anugama. So she talked about Nikshep and Anugama, and she presented that we should avoid conflicts between us, among us, and understanding the right meaning of a word. So this also connects with the life living, the Jaina way of living. So I thank Dr. Sangeeta Shah also. The third paper was presented by Dr. Pra Chelmark. He or she came from Thailand, and he focused Buddhism and Jainism, focus on non-violence in Buddhism and Jainism. Both philosophies are related with Shaman tradition. So he took Shaman tradition and Jainism and Buddhism, talking non-violence, and he focused on pranatipat virmana. Pranatipat virmana. There are pranas in meat, in chicken. There are pranas which are killed by anyone, by householder, or but a monk should not also accept that for his food, for his meals. That should be avoided, and many Buddhist texts have supported this thing, that meat is not permissible, not permissible in general for a Buddhist monk, but in particular conditions they were permitted. It was permitted. So the monks who came after Buddha thought that that we can accept meat and fish and eggs, etc., taking 3 koti shuddhi, only 3 koti shuddhi. But this was a wrong tradition in Buddhism also, because there are pranas in every living being. Concept of prana is very important. We human being have 10 pranas. 5 pranas are related with our 5 sense organs, and 3 pranas are related with our mind, speech and body, and 1 prana is related with our breathing system, swasochwas, and 1 is related with our ayushya karma, the life span karma. So there are 10 pranas in human being, and minimum 4 pranas are found in ekendri, one sense organ living beings, like plants, like prithvikaik living being, like apkaik living being, like fire being, and so in every living being there are pranas. No living being is without pranas. So if we kill, then their pranas are demolished. They are they can't live. The living being can't live without pranas. So when pranatipat occurs, then living being is dead. So observing non-violence, we should not kill any living being. But for living, we should minimize it. Minimalism is needed there, of hinsa also. But in Jainism, there are 2 kinds of living beings, tras and sthavar. Ekendriya, one sensed organ, one sensed living beings are called ekendriya. So there is no rule for householders to avoid hinsa of one sensed living beings, but they are called sthavara. But from 2 sensed living beings up to 5 sensed living beings are called tras jiva. So we should avoid killing of tras jiva, and only we are free to use the living beings of one sensed, but we should minimize it. We are not free to kill any living being, and that will save the earth, the environment, and us living human beings also. Now that turn comes for my paper, and it is concentrated on importance of Jaina way of living from the health point of view. How Jaina way of life is important for health. So it is also an important topic, but how much time it allows, I do not know, but I will present for 10 to 15 minutes, if permits the chair. And chair, but yes. So Jaina way of life or Jaina way of living is very useful for humankind, and it is useful for 3 types of health: spiritual health, mental health, and physical health. Generally we talk about physical health, but not mental and spiritual. But if we go through spiritual health, then it affects our physical health also, our mental health also. And if we are concentrate on mental health, then it also affects our physical health. So physical health is dependent on spiritual health and mental health. And it is also uh, independent in some cases, like accident happens and body is injured. So I want to focus on health. The main focus in Jainism is on spiritual health, spiritual purification. But simultaneously, it improves mental health and diminishes physical illness also. A person who observes Jaina lifestyle of eating and avoiding unhealthy habits of thinking, eating and drinking can live a better healthy life. There are many principles and prescriptions for betterment of all kinds of health. A few of them are avoiding eating in the night, one point. Another point, observing many types of penance, such as ayambil, upvas or fasting, lesser consumption than hunger, which is called as ekashan, eating once in a day, use of filtered and boiled water or alkaline water, renunciation from non-vegetarian food, shakahar, and credit goes in the world to Jains for establishing vegetarianism. But now it is now known as Jain food, which is pure vegetarian. Jain food is famous in the world. Everybody knows. Every flight, every server in the flight knows that what is Jain food. It is not only vegetarian, but there is a limited vegetarian food which also avoids rooted vegetables, aloo, onion, potatoes, onion also. And another thing, no use of intoxication like liquor, tobacco, etc. Next, guidelines for having beneficiary and limited food, which is hitkari bhojan. What is beneficial food for us? We should observe, think, and then we should take it. So there are many aspects in Jainism which can improve our physical health also. Mental illness also affects physical health due to tension, conflicts, over business, lesser sleep, confrontation, etc. Our mental health is deteriorated, and this affects physical health also. Most of the physical diseases like blood pressure, blood sugar, and heart failure are the result of modern lifestyle. People are inclined towards tasty food, which may not be nutritious for their health. We have to understand that a person who remains angry and annoyed always can't protect his spiritual, mental, and physical health. Anger increases the blood pressure and blood sugar, hence it should be avoided. In Jaina philosophy, victory over anger, egoism, deceit, and greed is suggested. If someone controls these, he may live happily without any tension and can protect mental and physical health. Now we should focus. What is health? What is health? In Susrut Sanghita, it has been defined in the terminology of Ayurveda, a person who bears balance in the humerus of the body, balance in the digestive faculty, and balance in three constituent elements which are known as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and also experiences happiness in the soul, sense organs, and mind is treated as healthy person. So health is related with our mind and soul also. It is not limited up to our body only. Health is not limited to the body only. It defines the capacity of working and the good mood in which a person works happily. It means health is a synthetic concept which denotes a complete health of body, mind, and a soul. The Jaina philosophy is quite helpful in maintaining complete health. Mental health may be acquired through like non-violence, forgiveness, which is very important concept in Jainism, which purifies a person, inner purification concept is there in forgiveness, and it releases our tension and also helps in maintaining our physical health better. Equanimity, friendliness towards others, truthful and honest behavior, non-obstinacy, meditation, avoiding the sinful activities, swadhyay, observing swadhyay, restraining on mind and speech, etc. Health, which is also helpful in physical health. A person practicing these principles can experience good health. Nowadays, the doctors and the hospitals take care of physical health only. A human being is also centered to maintain physical health. A few persons are devoted to improving their mental and spiritual health. Hence, this paper mainly discusses physical health. So, there are some points. Prohibition of non-vegetarian food, alcohol and tobacco consumption in Jainism. Ahimsa or non-violence is the foremost principle of Jain religion. Hence, it never supports the consumption of non-vegetarian food. Jain Acharyas propounded 7 dead addictions, which should be avoided by every follower of Jain religion. These should be left by everyone who wants to save his own health. Money and character. These 3 are saved when we leave bad addictions. Health is protected, money is protected, and character also protected. Non-vegetarian food generates many types of diseases like because meat products are loaded with saturated fats, hence these increase the heart diseases, diabetes, and hypertension. Vegetarian Jain food is sattvic and it keeps mind and body more active. Consumption of alcohol is linked with increased risk of 61 diseases as an article published in the journal Nature Medicine. It damages function of liver and can create gastric ulcers, cataract, gout, etc. according to the new studies. According to the studies, consumption of tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year. Around 1.3 million non-smokers who are exposed to second-hand smoke are also affected. Smoking can cause long-term negative effects on the body, including heart diseases, cancer, and diabetes. The inhaled substances can affect lungs and other organs of the body. There are many types of drugs which badly affect the health. Opium, heroin, cocaine are very harmful and dangerous for the health. Jaina lifestyle is devoid of these addictions. Hence, it prevents many of the diseases, although many religious system prohibit the consumption of meat, alcohol, and drugs and tobacco. But the emphasis given by Jain Acharyas is more effective. That is why majority of Jains don't consume these harmful substances. Avoiding eating in the night, it is also an important fact. I shall mention about the scientists Jeffrey C. Hall, Michael Rosbash, and Michael W. Jung, who jointly received a Nobel Prize in the year 2017 for establishing the theory of circadian rhythm fasting. They studied how the biological clock works, and they found that the body activities are related with the motion of the sun and the earth. We should follow the circadian rhythm of fasting, according to which fasting for 12 to 16 hours is needed. Circadian fasting suggests that eating should be in the daylight and fasting should be in the dark period. This circadian rhythm fasting may improve measures of metabolic health. It improves blood sugar levels, increases the thermic effect of food, and enhances absorption of nutrient in the intestines. The Jaina religion also advocates for not eating in the night. It gives enough time for digestion and perfect working of intestines. Acharya Hemchandra propounds in the Yoga Shastra, after sunset, the heart lotus and the stomach lotus are shrinked. Hence, meals at night should be avoided. The other reason is to avoid eating micro or small organisms which may enter into the food and may not be seen by us. So there is a concept of non-violence also. Nowadays, doctors are also of the opinion that eating late at night is one of the main causes of illness. This late night eating disturbs the digestive system. Many diseases are related to the defective digestive system. A person cannot consume sufficient water after a late night dinner, and he suffers from acidity and many stomach problems. Observance of austerities. There are many types of austerities or penance in the Jain text and Jain practice also. So Jaina philosophy recommends several types of penances and austerities for spiritual purification, but they are fruitful for mental and physical health also. One of them is upavas or fasting. This fasting is very much helpful in cleaning the digestive system of body. It cleans all parts of the body. Herbert M. Shelton, in his book, Fasting Can Save Your Life, propounds that 80% diseases can be cured by fasting only. Shelton says that fasting helps the natural process of cure of the body. He cured many diseases like arthritis, peptic ulcer, migraine, high blood pressure, heart diseases, inflammation in the intestine, skin diseases, growth of prostatic gland, paralysis, swelling in the kidney, etc. through fasting. He says that fasting improves the constructive power in the body, and the digestive system improves, and it improves digestive system also. Fasting destroys the toxic ends of the body, and it again feels fresh itself. The person feels energetic and healthy in a few days. Mind and sense organs work with more power. Ears and eyes come in the working order. This is the conclusion of Herbert Shelton. Every part of the body restores its power. Blood pressure becomes normal. The cells of the body can work with more power. Fasting cures physical ailments and also makes a person more powerful and healthy mentally and spiritually. Another penance is less eating than hunger, which is called as avamodari or unodari in Prakrit text. This gives a sufficient relief to the stomach for digestion process. It makes a person active for full day, and he can live happily for the life period. One penance is ayambil in which no milk, no ghee, no curd, and no sweet is taken. Without it, one time meals is taken. So this very simple food, this IMBIL controls and cures blood sugar, blood pressure, and many other diseases. When this food is taken with salt, avoiding milk, etc., then it is called as Nivi Tap. This may be prescribed for the patients who have to reduce their fats, but they need sodium or calcium. If a person is normal and able to eat everything, then he may observe Ekashan Vrat, one-time meals, in which meals are taken only once in a day. It is very much beneficial for maintaining digestive system perfectly. He may observe it once in a week, and he can observe upavas or full day fasting, then it is more strengthening for the health. A Japanese scientist, Yoshinori Oshimo, has got Nobel Prize in 2016 for investigating the importance of fasting from the health point of view. He established a new term, autophagy, for his research. He says that our body is having more than 100 of millions cells, and many of them die every day or every moment. These dead cells convert into carbon dioxide. Still, many more dead cells deposited in the body. During the fasting, these dead cells are okay. The, these dead cells are uh, during the fasting, these dead cells are eaten by the body and new cells are developed. This process of self-eating of dead cells by the body for making new cells is called autophagy. This system of autophagy through fasting controls high blood pressure and diabetes. So I covered some things here. One more kind of restraint is observed by Jain religion followers, which is called as Dravya Maryada. There is a limit of how many items should be taken in one day. So this is also one kind of penance. One verse in Og Niryukti is found. Hiyahara, Miyahara, Appahara, Ye Jenara, Nate Vicha Tigichanti, Appanam Te Tigichaga. What has been said, the human being who take beneficiary, limited and little bit lesser food are their own doctors. They do not need other doctors for the treatment. This is very important key for handling the health. Consumption according to need of the body and avoiding harmful opposite food is beneficial. And there is what is opposite food that also has been mentioned in Yukti, which food should be avoided. There are many food items which should not have which should not have been taken together. For example, mixture of oil and curd is harmful. Together, consumption of milk, curd and kanji is not recommended. Furthermore, instructions have been given there that milk should not be taken together with green leaf vegetables, cucumbers, roots, sour fruits, salt and curd. So there are one point is found in Yog Shastra of Hemchandra, where it has been said that ajirne bhojanam tyaktavyam. When it is ajirna, indigestiveness, then we should avoid taking food. And some causes are there, reasons are there on which point we should leave food and which point we should take food. There are 6 causes for having food: to extinguish the hunger pangs, to provide physical services to other companion monks, to get energy for traveling on foot, to continue the restraint life. This is for monks, but we can also derive for our purpose. There are also 6 reasons when the intake of food should be avoided. First, at the time of fever of disease, at the time when a panic condition is caused by heavenly bodies, human beings or subhuman beings, and for maintaining chastity or brahmacharya. For brahmacharya, we should leave food also. And brahmacharya is also helpful in maintaining physical health. So this is also important point. Brahmacharya, this is supportive for our health. So some points have been discussed here, and I conclude that the Jaina way of life are certainly very beneficial for the spiritual, mental and physical health. The Jaina ways of living prevent many diseases, and these are also helping in cure also. Thank you all of thank you to you all of you, and I विराम लेता हूं. विरमामि. यदि केचन प्रश्नाः स्युः तर्हि प्रष्टव्याः.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presidential remarks as well as your paper, wonderful paper. Really, we learn a lot and it is very much practical in nature. Now, I would like to so now the session is over and the mic is over to Anand Jain sir.
Very, very thankful all the listeners. And now I am very thankful to the chair and also the presentators of this session. And very thankful to Dr. Rajiv Lochon who convened very well and all of you. So now we can ready for the lunch. And this is very short notice because we have to start second session from 2 o'clock. So it is humble request to be here at 2 p.m. Thank you, all of you. Kindly have your lunch.